Beautiful love. It's the weekend of the 16th, 17th and 18th of September 2022, and this is the Ocean City Seafood Festival with classic boats and sea shanties on the Barbican in the Ocean City, Plymouth.
So we're well into the classic boats rally this year now. It's day 2, or it started yesterday, or the boats started coming in yesterday, and you've been doing some painting or sketches.
Well, the theme this year is flags at half-mast.
Yes.
Because there's no bunting. So the ensigns are at half-mast, and we've got the Cornish flag at half-mast as well.
Yes.
So I'm going to go around and see what other opportunities there are when more boats are arriving in the next couple of hours.
Because you've been doing this for a few years now, haven't you?
Yeah, I work with Jonathan on this one.
Do you specialise with boat art then?
Yeah, I do marine art as my thing, but mostly paintings.
Yeah. Have you got a boat of your own?
Yes, it's over there.
Oh, right. Which one is it?
It's a white mast, blue cover. You can't quite see it. It's just hidden by the other ones. So.
Right. Okay.
I've just finished a transatlantic crossing on her. So,
brilliant! Look at you. It's nice to be able to get out and about.
Nice to be come back.
Yeah. So was that during the COVID lockdown?
No. This is a couple of months ago.
Right. Okay.
So I went from Plymouth to Madeira to the Azores, and then the Azores back to.
Fantastic. How many crew did you have?
That was single-handed.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So a single-handed voyage.
So you've got to have a tremendous brain to be able to cope with that, haven't you?
No, not really. I think. Why does single-handed sailing matter?
Yes.
And Sir Robin Knox-Johnson, when he finished his trip around the world for the Golden Globe race, first one, 5,000 people turned up in Plymouth to welcome them in.
Yes.
And why? And I think what it is, it's about individualism.
Yes.
And
self-achievement.
Yeah, but it's about the power of the individual overcoming personal odds,
tell me about it.
personal quest.
Yeah, we all have to go through that.
And it resonated with people.
Yeah.
That there was this chap, white polo neck jumper.
Yes.
Going around the world in a boat he built himself.
A bit like Sir Francis Chichester.
Yeah.
Years before.
And that was the year Apollo 8 went around the moon.
1969.
Yeah. But this was 1968.
1968.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
2 years later.
And this resonated, this achievement. So whether you climb Everest or Annapurna or K2 or do this great trip, and individuals matter.
Yeah.
Because without individuals, society becomes a mob.
You're not kidding. There's no change.
Well, we all believe propaganda.
Yes. Well, no, not all of us.
Yeah, but you see how.
Well, I was full-time mountain rescue for 5 years up in North Wales, and I climbed Mount Rainier in Washington, climbed in the French Pyrenees.
Yes.
And life to me is an adventure about pushing yourself to the limits. That's why I can relate to the classic boats and things like that, where people have the sense of adventure.
Yes.
And it's about being at one with the world.
And
basically, you only have one life, and it's about fulfilling it to your utmost capabilities.
Yeah, and there aren't that many real adventures left.
Yes.
A lot of things have been done, and so climbing and paragliding and sailing, perhaps the last ones.
Because that mental stamina helps you in other ways. It helps you fight through problems in life and challenges that are put up against you.
Oh yeah, I mean, if sailing has kept me sane over many years.
Yes.
Whatever else goes wrong, at least the sailing's working.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, and that's why we're trying to encourage single-handed sailing in the club, even if it's just sort of up and down the coast and sort of little day trips.
Yeah.
Because it's that little bit of meditation and a little bit of self-actualization that you get when it's you by yourself on your own on the boat.
Well, that's why.
We're not talking about going around the world single-handed like Robin, but even little bits.
But they try and make it a taboo. Anybody that they used to call them loners. Anybody that like their own space to meditate or concentrate and keep their own faculties together used to be called loners, and then they were put on the outside of society in some areas. And I wouldn't class myself as a loner, but I like to go. But the problem I have is I have great difficulty having people up to. It sounds arrogant, but I have great difficulty people being up to the standards that I'm up to, trying to achieve.
Yes.
And do things.
Yes.
You know, because I'm highly motivated, and I've been in Plymouth a long time, and I find it, if I let it, it'll drag me down. So a lot of what I do is outside Plymouth. I've been all over Europe in the last 5 years doing documentaries in Madrid, Amsterdam and places like that. And I've had press passes access all areas. And no offence to Plymouth, but whenever I come up to Plymouth, back to Plymouth, there's always obstacles put in the way to hold you back.
Yes.
And it's a pain. And it's not just holding the individuals back, it's holding the city back. Without going into the politics too much.
I think that the individuals who do it on their own, without the backing of a group, are not the outliers for society. We are the centre of society.
Yes.
You know, these are the people that are thinking creatively.
Or you create a sense of direction as well.
Yeah, are thinking individually.
Yes.
And not following the narrative blindly.
Yeah.
And are sort of the bulwark which is keeping society going.
Yes.
If you take those people away,
they
end up like Russia. Everyone just believes the propaganda.
Or China.
Yeah.
Where everything's controlled.
Yes.
And you're a robot to the system, basically.
Because it's very hard work to go against the system.
It is, because like I said, Plymouth is a military city. I'm not having to go at Plymouth for the sake of it, but I find it a frustrating city to live in.
It is.
You know,
I love it. I love Plymouth.
I love the geography of the area, and I love the history of Plymouth. But a lot of that's been destroyed as well. A lot of the people that have changed things have been wiped out over the years, or taken, have been almost dissolved.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, really, because they're inspirational towards other people. You know, it's like Tom Daly. He's great for Plymouth. You know, because he challenges ways of thinking, and also he's good on the international stage in a different sort of way. You know, and I like people that challenge ways of thinking. You know, or even Robert Lenkiewicz in The Barbican. I didn't necessarily agree with his views, but he was different.
But I think it's one like the individual thinker.
Yeah.
Who is going their own way, but forging new boundaries in thinking. You know, you work your way through the problem and the process, and you come up with something radical and new.
Yeah.
You know, having an original idea is actually quite hard work.
Yes.
It's difficult to pull off.
It's because there's nothing really over original. It's just your interpretation of doing things differently, or doing things that you're happy or settled with.
Yeah,
I need adventure in my life, and a slight danger elements as well. I suppose. Yeah, you're the same if you do what you do.
I think I took 2 books of philosophy with me.
Yeah.
On the book, because philosophy is a great thing to read when single-handed sailing.
Yeah.
Because you can read 3 pages, think, oh, that's hard work, and then you go and do something, and you're organised, and then you come back another 3 pages.
Yes.
That's hard work, and go and do something else. And, but it's thinking differently. What do we think is normal? Have you got a second here?
There's nothing normal, because can I just say that every brain is organic and everybody has different versions of reality.
Okay, I'm trying to make a point here, so I'm going to start with history.
Yes, okay, go on.
Go into the future, and then go into a dinner party game.
Right, okay.
There's a point to this.
Okay.
1607, the first colony in the New World was founded, which was Jamestown in America.
Yeah.
Well before the Mayflower, which was 1620.
Yeah.
And Jamestown sent back.
Can we just change direction a minute, because you're a bit silhouetted with the sun that way.
Right. Yeah,
that's better. Just a minute. Just watch the tripod. Try and keep it.
Do you want me to start again, or do you want me to?
No, it's all right. Carry on.
And Jamestown sent back an idea. Now, if you lived in 16, making a point about original thinking, and I start with a bit of history, go into the future, and then go back to a dinner party game.
Okay.
And there was a point to this.
Yeah. Okay.
In 1607, the first colony in America was established in the New World.
Yes.
Jamestown in 1607, and Jamestown sent back to Europe an idea which changed everything. And this idea was completely unexpected. Because if you lived in 1607 in Europe, The crown owned everything, the church owned the rest, the nobles owned everything after that, and you knew your place.
Yeah.
And there was no mobility.
Yeah, well, I've heard
But
that before.
that was the way it has always been, and
Yeah.
that was the way it always will be, and that was considered perfectly normal.
Can I just step in with something on that line and then carry on?
Yeah.
You know, when I was in the military, the philosophy was you're not paid to think, you're paid to do, because the officers are paid to think.
Yes. And this was so normal that nobody challenged it.
Yeah,
But in Jamestown in 1607, way before the Mayflower, that was 1620, you could have your own land and you could have your own farm and you could do your own hunting, shooting, fishing, and you were your own man and you were not beholden to the king or the nobles or the church or anybody else. And this idea filtered across the Atlantic. People thought, well, hang on a minute, well, if they can do that over there, why can't we do that over here?
yeah,
And it became a radical movement. It led to the French Revolution and all sorts of things from what we had today. And so what is it that we think in our society is completely normal, and that's the way it always has been, that's the way it always will be, and we don't think about it because we think it's normal.
yeah,
In a very few years, if Elon Musk gets his act together, which he looks like he's thoroughly doing, we're going to have a colony on Mars within about 10 years.
yes,
Now, I think what the Martian colonists will send back will be a radical idea similar to Jamestown.
yeah,
Because you're going to get a lot of very clever people living in a very hostile environment, all working together for a common aim.
yeah,
And what ideas will they send back?
yeah,
And they will look at where you set up life, and they won't do what we think is normal here.
no,
And that will be very, very interesting. And one of the things we think is normal, which is odd, is have a dinner party game. And there's a beggar in the street in Plymouth, and you know, sort of chaps go around asking for £1 from the bus and things like that.
yeah,
And the game goes, would you swap places with this beggar, swap bodies, effectively? So let's say the dinner party guests are around about 60, and for the sake of argument, the beggar is in perfect health.
yeah,
Okay, so it's perfect health, but he's living on the streets and begging.
uh-huh.
So if you swap bodies, you gain another 40 years of life.
yeah,
Oh, that's a deal. Wow, yeah, okay. But you have to start again on the streets.
yeah,
Would you actually do that? Now, that's interesting, because people have all sorts of ideas on this one.
yes,
And a lot of people wouldn't do it.
yeah,
I don't want to have to start again.
yeah,
You know, I've worked my way through life, I've run the business, I've paid off the mortgage, I've done this, I've done that, and I've got where I am now, and I'm relatively comfortable, and I'm not sure I could do it again.
yeah,
Now that shows a level of insecurity in society,
yes,
which we think is perfectly normal, because it's always been insecure in society.
yes.
You know,
But even more so at the moment.
every period of history is
Yeah.
really insecure.
Yeah,
But try and think for a moment. Could you have that level of insecurity on Mars base? Because on Mars colony, because you can't have people begging in streets on Mars. That'd be ridiculous. You can't have
Yeah.
people who are not part of the
group.
the quest, in
Yeah.
a sense, to establish a
Otherwise you have
society
a
on
breakdown
Mars.
of the system.
And you couldn't have that level of insecurity.
Yeah,
Now, taking that, people say, oh, well, if people weren't insecure, they wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. I think they would definitely get out of bed in the morning and be doing all sorts of amazing things.
Yeah.
More so because they're not so terrified of ending up on the streets.
but like you said, going back to Mars, where they become their ideas start going in a different direction. That's like anybody that's in a bubble, even like the royal family or Michael Jackson or anybody like that. That's in a bubble of their own.
Yes.
Their version of normality and what's right and wrong becomes different to other people's.
Yes. I mean, we don't know what would happen, but I think it would be interesting to see what does happen.
Yeah,
Because everybody will be watching it really carefully. You know, it'll be the news in a sense.
yeah,
So people will think, well, if they could do that there, why can't we do it over here?
yes,
And these ideas will filter
Yeah.
back. And I think that's going to be very interesting. But we don't look at it now because we think it is perfectly normal.
Yeah.
The same way as the colonists in 1607 thought that, well, of course Crown owns all the land, the church owns everything else.
Yeah.
How could you possibly change that?
So what do you think causes the insecurity in the system? From what I see, a lot of it is by the system that's put on us. You know, when you escape into the sea, you're only as insecure as your own capabilities at sea and within the vessel that you're in.
No, because when you're sailing, you've essentially realised a lot of self-actualisation. You actually have a boat which is seaworthy.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk to boat owners, all they ever talk about is maintenance.
Yes.
Because it's keeping the boat to a level where it is seaworthy. It's
Yeah.
hard work and takes a lot of effort and organisation and boatyards and time. You don't see the boat in the marina.
Yeah.
People rarely see it in the boatyard in February in the drizzle when you're trying to do all the maintenance.
Yeah. Well, I've done all that on classic boats. Yeah.
So you've prepared the boat to a level you're confident with.
Yeah.
You are taking the boat out, which you are then fairly sure is pretty seaworthy, and you've got a lot of backups and throwing cash at it.
Yeah.
And this is so you are comfortable with that as a concept.
Yeah.
And then it's for you on your own, with your own systems around you, actually going sailing.
Yeah.
And it's everything you've done to actually create that. You made it all happen yourself.
Yeah.
And that's enormously empowering.
So going on that line, the skills of sailing are like mountaineering. They've changed so much in the last few years because you've got technology to back up what you're doing now. And of course, mountaineering up till about 40 years ago was very basic, and they hadn't got all this high-tech equipment.
Yeah. I think the tech has changed, the equipment has changed.
Yeah.
But the basic skills you learned 20, 30 years ago are still valid.
Yeah.
Everything you learned 30 years ago is still valid.
Yeah.
Still works. Tech hasn't changed. We've got better equipment.
Yeah.
And are better prepared.
Yeah.
But things can still go wrong in a hurry. You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Okay. Was that the end of the line that you were going down with with what you're saying at the beginning?
I think it's what do we think is normal?
Yes.
Because it always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
And when will we suddenly realise that actually that can be changed? It's not normal.
Yeah.
We just think it's normal.
Well, to a certain extent, that's conditioning. That's what the system does on us anyway. Conditions us into what they class as acceptable ways of normality.
Yes.
And that's what the laws are based around.
Yes.
To a certain extent.
We have a society which has been built up over thousands of years.
Yeah.
Go back to the Abyssinians and the Greeks and very, very early civilizations.
Yeah.
And we have laws based around that. But that doesn't mean that the society is static. It's all developing and changing. I mean, if you think of the world in 1950, it's often thought of as a sort of golden age.
Yes.
But there's some very good, I think there's a very good TV film where the plot line was some character who'd been frozen in 1950 and then thawed out to the modern world.
Yeah.
And people were aghast at how annoying he was in his ancient attitudes. He was still using the N-word, for black people.
Oh, yeah, that's not so long ago, yeah.
People of colour, and it was still very, very sexist. And it was just a way of
still have it in certain areas. Certain areas in America are still very. But
it was a way of illustrating how much life had changed.
And they use religion as a reason for it quite often as well.
Yeah, but it was a way of the film plot was to illustrate how much things had changed.
Yes.
And how he felt completely out of place in this modern world because they couldn't cope with his attitudes.
Yeah.
And it was really funny.
But I mean, the whole science has moved so quick. Even during the last 75 years, we've invented the National Health Service and all the science that's come on the back of that to saving people's lives. Modern science is only 400 years old at the maximum. And is it 400 years old?
Well, kind of go back to the Greeks, because they were looking at things and going, how does that work? How does that happen?
Yeah.
A lot's been lost over the centuries, but lots been gained and relearned and starting again.
And without going too much on
the we have fantastic material science and everything. And people are solving these problems almost on a daily basis. It's astonishing. I think it's amazing. I'm thrilled.
But I mean, if you look at it at a deeper level, it's always a human interpretation of things, and the human interpretation of things then seems to make a lot of sense. But it's still, to a certain extent, a human language of trying to explain things to us.
Yes, I think we are at heart a cooperative society.
Yeah.
We come to people's aid if they're in distress. We should help people who come.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how wonderful people are, just fall down in the street.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
People ringing up the ambulance.
The legend of the what do they call it? The biblical story of the guy that fell over in the street and nobody helped him. And then one person did. And I've forgotten the story to a certain extent.
Well, in real life, everybody helped you. I mean, remember a time when in sailing, the J-24 fleet were coming into QAB Marina. And I was on my boat there.
Yeah.
And the fleet were coming in, and we were just watching the fleet, and they were one of the boats tied up alongside us temporarily.
Yeah.
So they dropped all sails to do anything, and they were getting hauled out from the other end, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they all felt happy from this spectacular championship that just been on. And I looked up and I said, "Is he all right?" Because he was sort of lying on the deck, not moving. And the chap had a heart attack.
Oh, crumbs. And
instantly, out of nowhere, with no preparation, no training, no backup. One person was doing CPR on the guy.
Yeah.
Somebody else was ringing the ambulance. Somebody else was going up to the gate to let the ambulance through because otherwise they never find it. And a lot of other people were moving the J-24 so it's coming onto the dock, so it's easier for the people to go.
Yeah.
All these things happen out of nowhere, and it all worked. And you just thought, okay, that's good. Gosh, that's a really organised set of people, but that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And then when it was over, everybody dispersed, and I think the guy was all right.
Yeah.
But you fall down in the street and see how many people gather around and help.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I've been in similar situations myself where I've had to save people from drowning.
Yeah.
And the person in general was shouting for help, and everybody was ignoring him, and I could see the situation happening. So I jumped into the lake to bring him back, and I was so high on adrenaline. I shouted at the people and told them off for ignoring his pleas for help. And then once I knew he was safe, I left him with the people that should have been helping him in the first place, and walked away.
I think, in my experience, is that people do help remarkably quickly and remarkably well.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for that. You need to go and do some painting of boats. And what's your name again?
Adrian.
Thanks a lot, Adrian. Nice talk. Thank you.
Nice.
A very special thanks to Brian, who's been the face of Plymouth, Sir Francis Drake, around the Barbican in the city centre and on the Hoe for many, many years. We thank you for all your service. 30 years of Culture and the Arts as a free service on Love Sometime TV. Don't forget to friend and share my videos, subscribe to my channel and support me through PayPal at tcsphoto1@gmail.com. Thanks for watching the video. It's a lifestyle.